Hello students, today we are going to talk about functionalism. Now, when we hear the word functionalism, what it is? So let us first try to understand what it is. When we study any society, we try to look at the society from different perspectives. So, functionalism is one of such perspective, which allows us to look at society from that particular angle. Now, why it is necessary to study any society? Basically, when we are living in society, we need to understand the human relations, how the person behaves in particular context, what are the other factors which influence the behavior of a person. So, in order to understand from which angle we are studying society, that helps us to understand we are looking at the society from that particular specs. Now, functionalism is one of such perspective. What it is? Of course, it is a perspective which allows us to understand how the society functions. Now, why it is necessary to understand how the society functions? Because many of the sociologists have done an eminent work in order to understand how the human or how the society functions. And why it is necessary to understand how the society functions? Because man, being a social animal, when he resides in any society, he has to understand how his role does have influence on others' roles, or what significant role he has to play, which needs to be considered under the context from which he belongs. So, functionalism, when we look at the term functionalism, it originates from the word function. Let us try to understand what is function. Function is nothing but the role assigned to any structure. Let us say, when we look at the role played by the pen, it is a pen, we can look at a pen as a structure, and what function it performs. We use pen for writing. So writing is a function which is performed by the pen. So this is in terms of an object. But when we look at society, what can be the structures? What are the different components which will play a role? So we can say education is one such system or institution, mass media, religion, business, family, judiciary. These are the different components which does play a major role. Now, whenever this institution plays a role, we look at that particular institute wherein we expect certain roles to be performed by this institute. Say for example, education. When we look at education, the main function of education is to train the child how to educate a child. When we look at religion, we look at religion which teaches us how to behave, how my behavior should be according to the principles of that particular religion. When I look at mass media, the major function of mass media is to make people aware about what is happening in the society. So, when each component are playing the role, their role are interdependent. Now, what does it mean? Let us take an example of a human body. Like we have different organs in a body, each organs are interdependent. So, if there is any malfunctioning in any one organ, it will hamper the whole system. Same is with the case of a society. When we look at society as a system, we talk about different parts. So, the different institution which I just spoken about can be considered as a different parts or different components, and each components are dependent on each other. Suppose there is your education system is faulty, or your education is not achieving the aim which you have decided, obviously it is going to have an effect on your society. Then obviously you will fail to prepare the citizen which will be the requirement for tomorrow. So this is how the society is interdependent. Each component, education, religion, family, law, customs, tradition, all these are interdependent and they all affect each other. So this is in a nutshell we can say this is what is functionalism. Every organ, every part needs to play a certain role, and that role will be considered as a function, and how these particular roles played in the society affect each other. So we can say in nutshell this is the concept of